Hello and welcome back to Uncle Venom's Books and Whiskey. I'm Ron Rutstein, otherwise known as Uncle Venom. Today we're going to be matching up Benraich the 12 with Matt Beynon Rees, A Grave in Gaza. Now you might want to know why I'm matching up something taking place in the Gaza Strip in Palestine with a Scotch whiskey, because Muslims don't drink. Well, they're not supposed to, but a lot of times the upper echelon do without anybody finding out or knowing about it. And sometimes it's an open secret for those that are not particularly religious and mix with multiple cultures, which happens a little bit in this. This is a murder mystery thriller, and this is a rather potent whiskey. So, Benraich the 12. 3 cask matured. So we've got the original cask, and then we've got a sherry cask, a bourbon cask, and a port wood cask for rich smoothness, layered with baked fruit, maple honey sweetness, and lingering oak spice. Not sure which wood gives the maple flavor, but there's no maple sugar in this. So being diabetic, I don't have to worry about carbs. Whiskey has no carbs, as opposed to beer, which can have anywhere from none in a tasteless beer to quite a few. All right, so let's see what we got. A Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. A Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey as intriguing and extraordinary as Benraich could not have come to be without a unique whiskey making heritage dating from 1898. And then it gives a little history. To make Benraich the 12, Benraich Spirit is 3 cask matured for at least 12 years in sherry casks, bourbon barrels, and port casks. The whiskey from each cask is then expertly married together to create a smooth, sherry-rich single malt layered with baked fruit, maple honey, and cocoa, perfectly balanced with the lingering sultana and spiced mocha finishes. So evidently they make 3 batches of whiskey and blend them together. Not sure that could be called a single malt, but they're all made in the same place. Maybe the original batch is all the same, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe we can look that up at some point and see just what constitutes a single malt. I thought it had to be from the same batch and traveling together through its journey to bottling. But here they're definitely blending 3. Rachel Berry is the master blender. And color, golden bronze. Nose, rich maple honey, cocoa, and baked forest fruit. You definitely get a maple sweetness with almost a burnt sugar kind of aroma on this one. Palate, maraschino cherry, ew. Baked orange and hazelnut, with a lingering sultana and spiced mocha finish. So that that burning smell could also be maybe a mocha kind of smell. Now, when you saw the original pour that I did of this, it had a little round ice cube in it, which is almost completely melted. Obviously, I have tasted this one already, and I decided it needed to be cut a little to bring out the full flavor. For me, the ice cube does that. It gives the whiskey a mellowness that it doesn't have without that ice cube or maybe a splash of water. If you prefer your whiskeys with a lot of kick, then don't bother doing that. You can still get the flavor out of it, but you're going to definitely feel a strong burn, or at least I did the first time I tasted it. All right, the flavor. Baked forest fruit. I'm not sure what they're referring to as forest fruit. Maybe wild cherries? Maybe they're referring to the maple kind of flavor, which I do get a little bit. Baked orange and hazelnut. So the hazelnut could be a forest fruit. Oranges are pretty exclusively grown in groves these days, but once upon a time they probably came from a forest. The hazelnut I don't get, which is good because I don't like hazelnut. I don't like hazelnut coffee. I don't like eating hazelnuts. If I have a batch of nuts, I'll eat them just to get rid of them, but I'm not a particular fan. Spiced mocha finish. Yeah, definitely can get that little aftertaste of that mocha. Yes, I like this. It was $65. There are better $65 whiskeys that I have had. But if you're looking for something that's a little strong and has these mix of flavors, this is good. Like I said, I think that to get the full flavor out of it, you need to add a splash of water or a cube of ice to do that. So what are we pairing this with today? Pairing this with a mystery thriller kind of story, A Grave in Gaza by Beynon Rees. So Mr. Rees was the Middle East editor for Time magazine. Originally started as a reporter there, but about I would say 15, 20 years ago, I think it's been a little bit that he before he was the head of the Israel Middle East Bureau. And he wrote a book about the prospects of peace in the Middle East. Let's see if I can find the name here. Nonfiction, Cain's Field, Faith, Fratricide, and Fear in the Middle East, which is an excellent book. This one is published in 2008, and this is the second of the mysteries that he wrote that take place in Palestine. The crimes in this book are based on real events in Gaza. Though identities and circumstances have been changed, the killers really killed this way, and those who died are dead just the same. So, when he discussed the prospects for peace in Israel, he didn't hold up a lot of hope for one main reason, and the main reason is that both in Israel and in Palestine, everything is too fractious. There are factions, there is infighting, there is murder, and I kind of agree with him that anytime anything gets even close to peace, somebody does something to set that back. Yitzhak Rabin originally started the peace process, and he was assassinated by right-wing Jews, the ultra-Orthodox. In Palestine, there is a constant change of leadership, not necessarily in the person, but in the group. And in different areas, different groups have more power, like Hamas might be more powerful in Gaza, and PLO might be more powerful in the West Bank. And there's constant infighting and open hostilities between the different groups. This particular novel is based on that premise. It takes place in Gaza, and the events it describes are basically between a number of Palestinian groups that are fighting each other and killing each other. And it makes an exciting story. The main character in all four of his mysteries is Omar Youssef. Omar Youssef is a Palestinian who works as an educator for the United Nations and basically runs UN schools in Palestinian sections. And they go into Gaza, Omar Youssef and 2 UN personnel, to examine the schools that he runs there. And one of them is kidnapped, and there is infighting going on between these Palestinian groups, which is quite violent, and Omar Youssef and his cohort are caught in the middle. As I said, one of them is kidnapped and held hostage in trade for someone that one of the other Palestinian groups has as a prisoner. And Omar Youssef, who is kind of this detective, not in a Sherlock Holmesian sense of detective, but as a guy in the middle who needs to sort out a problem and is investigating things just so that he can sort that problem out. It's a very exciting novel. There is a lot of violence. It is realistic, as I said, as I read to you. It is based on a true story. I don't know how loosely it's based on a true story, and I doubt that there was anyone in the role of Omar Youssef, the main character here, in the reality that this is based on. All right, A Grave in Gaza. So just to let you know, I found this for $1 at a library sale. I encourage everyone to go to their library sales. You can pick up books for $1 or $2 or $3, and you can find gems like this, totally unexpected. And it can lead you down a rabbit hole. In my case, it led me down the rabbit hole of Matt Beynon Rees. I bought his nonfiction book, and I bought all 3 of his other murder mysteries. This is the second in the series. The first in the series is The Collaborator of Bethlehem. Mine comes with a first edition sticker, and I think all of the hardbacks are first edition because he was never really popular enough to go into multiple editions hardback that I know of. The third one, ironically, is called The Fourth Assassin. Maybe it's 3/4 of a book. I don't know. It looks like it's about the same as the other. And these are not terribly long. This one is 250 pages. Grave in Gaza is a little more than that, I think. 337. That's the longest of all of them. And then his fourth one, which I haven't read yet, The Samaritan's Secret, which I don't even believe this was ever released as a hardback. I think it came out as a direct-to paperback. And as I said, I have yet to read this one. It's 307 pages. And he stopped writing mysteries after this. This is in 2010, so it's been 13 years without a book. And yeah, this is First Mariner Books edition. And it doesn't say anything. Let's see. Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. It doesn't say anything about an original hardback there. And I was unable to find it because when I go searching for used books like this on Abe or somewhere, I do buy hardbacks if I can get them, unless they're prohibitively expensive, which none of these were. All right, that's it. Benraich the 12 and A Grave in Gaza, paired nicely today on Uncle Venom's Books and Whiskey. Again, I'm Ron Ruthstein, your host. Thank you for joining us. Please hit the like and subscribe button down below. And always remember, drink responsibly and read irresponsibly. Thank you very much.